broadcasting around the clock with news, weather, information, entertainment and factual programming. This is 24-hour local television for Dublin. This is your City Channel.
Now, our first guest on our news show is someone who knows a lot about a subject I'm only vaguely familiar with, and that is the stars, astronomy. It's David Moore from Astronomy Ireland. He is Mr. Astronomy in this country, and I'm delighted he's in studio again. Dave, welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Nice to see you again. September the 25th is the big day, isn't it? It's Jupiter Watch. Why Jupiter?
Well, it's already visible. If you've been out any night over the last few weeks, you've looked in the south, there's a brilliant star-like object there, 12 times brighter than the next brightest star in the sky. And that's the planet Jupiter. We're fairly close to it at the moment. It'll be visible for several months. And this weekend is an ideal time to see it at a convenient evening hour. It'll be at its highest in the south, perfect for setting up telescopes to show the general public what it looks like up close.
Okay, what does it look like? I mean, I remember from my very, from my school days, my very limited knowledge of astronomy, it's the biggest planet. Okay.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it's much bigger than the Earth. So if you were to make the plasticine model of the Earth, you'd have to squash 1,300 of them together to make something as big as Jupiter. So it's a monster planet. To naked eye, it just looks like a bright white star. But when you look through the telescopes, you'll see there's a disk, I think we have a picture of it, with stripes crossing it. It's cloud belts. They're about as wide as the planet Earth. You've got the Great Red Spot as well, which is a huge hurricane spinning on Jupiter. It's been running for at least 400 years since telescopes were powerful enough to see it. Computer simulations suggest it will last for thousands of years, maybe forever. It's difficult to see in a telescope, and it's not on the side facing us on Friday.
And Jupiter is surrounded by some sort of gas. Am I right in saying that's a big gaseous planet? Is that?
Yeah, there are 4 rocky planets close to the Sun and 4 gas planets further out. They're much bigger planets further out, but they're based like the Earth's atmosphere. As you come down the air, it's thicker and thicker. Of course, on the Earth, you hit the ground then. But on Jupiter, the air just keeps getting thicker and thicker until eventually it liquefies into a gas, and the center of it is crushed so much by Jupiter's enormous gravity that it's almost like a metal. And Jupiter has a huge radiation field surrounding it as a result. Looks very serene in the photographs, but it's a lethal place to go. We'll also see its 4 main moons, Io, Europa, Ganymede and Callisto. There's a story behind each one of those. One of them probably has life in its oceans, we think. And there's a probe hopefully going to go there and find out for sure, and we'll be able to see those moons in the telescopes.
Yes, tell me about that. We've been to Mars, well we haven't, but someone has, and found it out to be somewhat disappointing when they got there in terms of information and life. It wasn't too dissimilar to the moon. What about Jupiter? Is there a chance there's something a little bit more exciting when we eventually get something there?
Yes, I mean Mars...
How far away is it, by the way?
Jupiter is about 400 million miles away, so over 600 million kilometres.
A mere weekend's walk.
Yeah.
How long would it take a rocket or whatever, a space probe to get there?
Typical rockets take about 5 years to get there.
Wow.
Depends, you can have a lot more fuel and go faster, have a small spacecraft, or save your money, meander along there and have a bigger spacecraft. There have been several spacecraft that have flown past. The Galileo spacecraft actually stayed in orbit about Jupiter and crashed into Jupiter, going down through the cloud tops to find out what it's made of. But the moons themselves are where the interest might be for life, because Jupiter itself, life wouldn't be able to survive there. But the moons are fairly close to Jupiter, and Jupiter's gravity is actually stretching them. And it's like bending a metal bar or spoon back and forth. The joint heats up from friction. And the inside of these moons is actually warm, and they're made mostly of basically sludge, water, ice and rock mixed in. And the rock has settled to the bottom, leaving an ocean perhaps 10 miles deep, which has got organic compounds in it, and it's warm, and that's how we think life got started on the Earth. A huge warm organic compound soup.
Okay, I mean this leads to all sorts of other possibilities. If there is water or something akin to water on one of the moons of Jupiter, well then the possibility of life is very real. But when you look at our own solar system, we're only a dot in the bigger scheme of things. It's a big ask to start to work this thing out, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's very hard, even for those who've been interested in the hobby for decades, to figure out, or to imagine how big the universe is, because it's so far beyond our everyday experience. But one way to try and think of it is, if you imagine yourself lying on a beach and try to count the grains of sand under your deck chair. Then imagine counting all the sand down to the bedrock and all the sand grains on the entire beach, and then all the sand grains on all the beaches in the world. Well, there will be 1,000 stars for every single grain of sand that you had counted. And we think most of those stars have planets. Some have to be the right size and the right distance from their star for life to get started. So I think most astronomers would say that there's a possibility the universe is teeming with life, but it's such a big place that we might never contact any with our technology for perhaps a long time, perhaps millennia.
And we think we're sophisticated. Yeah.
Well, yeah, the only interesting thing about life in the universe is we do know it happened once. Now, whether we're the only ones, and there's something very unique about the Earth, which I don't think most scientists in the know believe, that we believe, it's almost bound to happen given the right conditions, which means the Earth is teeming with life, only it's very far away.
Okay, what else is happening in Astronomy Ireland very quickly we need to know about?
Well, there are evening classes coming up all around the country. These start on October the 8th. You'll get details on our website. Sign up now. We're going to try and teach you the universe, some of the things we've spoken about, and lots more besides. We over 8 weeks. There's a special offer on our magazine at the moment because this year is the International Year of Astronomy. And so you'll get 3 copies of our magazine extra this year. The Jupiter watches are running all around the country. So if you have friends, relatives around Ireland, they can check out the website again. There'll be a big watch in Dublin and Cork. They'll be our 2 main ones. They're happening on Friday night at 9 o'clock. It's free of charge. I want everyone to come along. There'll be copies of the magazine, information leaflets there. Hopefully it'll be nice and clear, and we'll be able to show people the planet up close. It's a fantastic sight in a telescope to actually see this dot transformed into a disk. And also flying over for the next couple of nights, we have the International Space Station. And there's a special service you can get where you get predictions of the exact time to watch that.
I've gone in and looked at that. That's brilliant. It's on the web. It's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, it flew over last night at 18 minutes past 8. Unfortunately, cloudy for me to see it. And it'll be at a different time every night. And if you miss it this time, it'll be back in November.
Okay. Well, look, David, best of luck with Jupiter Watch. It's terrific. Do come and see us again. I know you'll be dropping in from time to time. It's always good to see you. David Moore there from Astronomy Ireland. In fact, he is Mr. Astronomy Ireland. More details on astronomy.ie, and that Jupiter Watch is on September the 25th, if you want to take a look at it. We'll be back on the evening show in a moment to see what's been happening at Barrettstown. They have their bandana appeal. That's coming up next.